I've been filing away at this guitar neck here for a little bit. I did happen to pick up a couple more things from StewMac. I grabbed a fret rocker, I believe this is called. This is not given to, these are not gifts from StewMac. They have been kind and sent a couple things here and there, but they had a sale going on, so I went ahead and grabbed a fret rocker. Pretty sure this is to like kind of check things for a level once I'm done leveling things off, or if you're trying to level maybe an existing neck set of frets, I guess. You kind of span some frets, and if it rocks back and forth, obviously things aren't leveled, and you just take this is not from StewMac, this is just a cheapo deal that I got from Amazon. You put some sticky backed adhesive or sandpaper on there, rub it back and forth, level things off. That's actually what I'm going to be doing next, because I've been kind of working with this little file. I went ahead and grabbed a little StewMac fret file here. Not sure the number, it's on here, StewMac 1175, probably the number, but it's to kind of dress the ends of the frets, I do believe. Don't quote me on that necessarily. What else do I have to do, or am I doing? I am going to go through and I'm going to mark all these frets off with some marker, and then I'm going to hopefully level everything off. I don't know what like grit of sandpaper start with, maybe 150, not sure, 220, and then I'll kind of go up through the grits, and then we'll have to polish them all back the other way because I'm going to leave marks on them. And then I have to take this file. This is a StewMac, again, it's called the Z file. They have a 300 grit and they have a 150 grit. The 150 grit is what I'll start with. This is the 300 grit that I'll finish with. Has a centered, they sell them in centered, they sell them in offset, they sell them, I think they sell 3 different versions, but the centered one to me seemed the easiest to use. So I'm gonna start with that, and that basically will put like a kind of like a little pyramid type deal on there. I think it's better for guitar setup when you're kind of pushing the strings down and whatnot. I don't know for sure, but I do have a bevel on here. I probably showed that already in a previous video or earlier in this one. I put like a 36-degree bevel on all these, and feels like they're all pretty dang flush, and if they're not, I can go back and reflush them back up. So what else did I do? I picked up an 1/8" chisel. This is just a cheapo chisel from Amazon. The brand on it is whatever this is, and that is to work on the nut right there in that little top of the area up here. I think I want to inset it down about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to go through and I'm going to kind of like file some of this wood away, and we're going to work our way down. We're going to work our way down to the depth needed, hopefully, fingers crossed. I got to be getting closer. This is just about ready to wrap up, I think, over the next, several videos. And then once I have this neck all set, I think I can start putting in the electronicals and those doodads. So that's what's going to happen. Oh, and I still have to put the darn, watermarked logo here. So many more things to do, but I just want to see if it makes sound here in the next month, but we'll see. Okay, let's kind of keep working, and we'll chat along as we work. Back at the frets, I had to wait a little bit to get in the 150 grit Z file from StewMac, and I went ahead and grabbed a 1/8 inch fret file also from StewMac. This is, it has like a rough side for filing in the nut. Sorry, this is a nut file, not a fret file. And then a smoother side, or a finer side, and then it's smooth on the side so we don't do any damage to anything, the surrounding wood around it basically. So I have the 300 grit Z file, and I have the 150 grit. Z file. The thought process is here, I went and put a black marker. I level everything off, and then I am going to re-crown. I'm going to put like another, it's going to make, because it was flat, to get everything level, and then I have to put a little point basically in there, get it as close to a point as I can, I guess. That way the strings all hit like a thinner surface on the top, so it doesn't lead to as much buzzing. I don't know. I'm not a guitar player. I have no idea. Here's what I do know. I learned a fun fact about Rudolph, because I just thought Rudolph always was, it just was always basically a story. I didn't know where it came from, how it originated, or anything like that. But of course, like with anything in the world, it had to do with money, or sort of like the process of getting people to come to a place to buy things. It came from Montgomery Ward, a big retailer, back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and 50s, and yada, yada, yada. But to get people into the store, they would run promotional gimmicks. What they used to do is buy coloring books, I guess, but that got pretty expensive for the holidays. So they tasked one of their employees, I think the guy's last name was May, possibly, but a younger fella in his mid-30s, and hey, come up with a Christmas story. That way we can kind of give it out as a pamphlet. So he came up with Rudolph, and he thought about Reginald the reindeer, he thought about Rollo the reindeer, he settled on Rudolph the reindeer, and then the whole shiny nose thing, and then this whole story about getting Santa's sleigh through a foggy evening or something like that was a big hit, evidently. And they sold like 2.5 million, or didn't sell, they gave away 2.5 million copies of this story, and it was, everybody loved it. I think eventually they ended up doing 6 million copies, and then they couldn't give as many away due to World War II, which was going on. They were rationing paper, so they had to slow it down. And then this employee eventually left Montgomery Ward, and he asked to buy the copyrights to that story, because it was his story, and he created it, and he really thought it had some legs. He thought maybe I could do something with this, and he turned it into a kid's a Christmas time book. His brother-in-law was a songwriter, and he eventually came up with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer to go along with this book, and he got Gene Autry to sing it, and Gene Autry did not want to sing the song because he had a cowboy persona, and he thought it was not fitting of his cowboy persona to sing a song about a red-nosed reindeer. But his wife at the time really, really liked it, convinced him to do it, and it was his best-selling album of his entire career. So everything worked out great. And then from there on, Rudolph has done all kinds of different things. So that's where it comes from. A pamphlet given out for free by Montgomery Ward. If you happen to get one of those, I bet you they're worth a pretty penny. Anywho, I'm going to go through and recrown all these things, and then we'll kind of get back and see where I'm at here later, because I still haven't done the headstock logo. That is coming, and I think once I get everything polished up, I got to go through and sand everything down and put a polish on these frets, and then kind of touch up some of the areas on the fretboard that may have seen some damage. And then the nut I have sort of slotted, but I'm going to file it. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'll be here if you need me. Not having fun.